Point well taken. So that makes us move to the next question, which I'm sure our audience would also be interested in knowing that how are these hackers, using Gen AI to lower the barriers and enter into the cybercrime industry?
Yeah, I think, see, one thing, if you largely look at, who play a role or who takes up cyber crime, right? So some of the surveys and stats says that they are not some high IQ people in a large spectrum, and these are all predominantly students in late teen or early 20s, and who probably oriented to perform this activity, right? So by showing probably early stage money, or some kind of perceptions injected into their head, right? So they were they were pulled into the criminal activities, right? Unlike similar other criminals. But the survey says that it is not that. I mean, they're all intellectual people, right? So they've been taught some set of ways to attack any system, and that's how they are trying to follow, right? And sometimes, I mean, you see these people are also not well educated, right? So they have language weakness, they have communication weakness, right? So they have beat programming to anything, right, to create a system. And so now what happens with these Gen AI? Of course, quite a lot of us now have reached to a very neutral communication, at least in terms of writing. Right? So anybody can write a much better email in the use of with the use of ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
So, which means that some of these tools actually brought us into a more common state, irrespective of your hard work, irrespective of your learning, your background expertise. And in some of these activities, I think we can all look similar, right? So now what happened, I mean, with these, the hackers, cyber crimers, right? So they're able to write more convincing phishing emails, which really look like an opportunity, for someone to try what is that, right? And they're able to write malicious code, using large
Hmm.
language models, right? And which is beyond their normal capabilities, right? Normally, and I mean, I think even if there are threats which they've never learned in from their learning model, but now on the fly they're able to learn, right? So they put together all of these threat, ask the right question to these large language models. It tells you that, okay, these are the way you connect the threads, and this is how you have an opportunity, to look at it, right? Yeah, I think it is very interesting. And some of the studies, interestingly, Nishida, that I could come across is that earlier it was about minimum of week to 45 days. The hacker stays in the system, to try and understand before they kind of make any moves, right? So which has actually come down to 48 hours, right? So
Oh.
they're able to kind of penetrate much faster than before.
Okay. So, do you see that because of these threats, are there any new job roles that are emerging uh, in the domain of Gen AI?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the point that I referred earlier, because I mean, Gen AI is not only supporting these low skilled attackers, right? So who can perform this faster. It is also supporting the defender, right? So now, how a defender would use similar, large language model, Gen AI model, and to create a high quality fencing system, right? And like the air fencing system that we come across in Operation Sindoor, Right. So now I see we have a great opportunity. And that's why I honestly believe that it is going to open up quite a lot of roles for a lot of youngsters to pursue. And which means that it is going to be like a AI battle on a cyberspace.
So we see a new department opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. I am already seeing that quite a lot of universities started bringing cyber security as a mainstream, masters, bachelors. Yeah.
Okay, so I also have one of the technical questions that I have heard this phrase which is called as a prompt injection. So, is the risk of using this prompt injection, and how these jailbreaks happen in business settings?
Yeah, I mean, see, that's a good point because today you also see that with the emergent, the way Gen AI is emerging, and you kind of also see that there are new roles coming up, in the software engineering, right? So one of the important role, is called prompt engineering. I'll come back to the prompt injection tester, right? So the prompt engineering is I mean, for the large language models, right? So you tell or you ask, seek the right, outcome by prompting the right question, right? So the model then try to understand the context much better. What are you trying to execute? How are you trying to execute? That's how these models are trained.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you can produce code, you can produce application, you can produce anything, right? And in the world of cybersecurity, and so that's called prompt engineering, right? So prompt engineering is also, I think, for many of us to understand, especially students, is a emerging role, right? Like a software engineer, software test engineer, right? Business analyst, and there were quite a lot of roles as such, for young student to pursue in the past. So now I see that there is a role which is seriously coming across. I think quite a lot of organization in the United States are hiring in large compared to India. It's called prompt engineers and the prompt injection testers. So the idea of this prompt injection or the role of prompt injection tester is they go about prompting and trying to fool your LLM models to try to get information and then try to misuse. Right. So so these injection testers idea is whenever you build any tools around large language model, and the injection tester is supposed to ensure that what can be shared as an information, what needs to be contained. For example, let's say you have a chatbot in your website. Okay. So I go and ask the chatbot, hey chatbot, tell me, I mean, was there any cyber attack with DSR? Right? Assuming that if there was such a incident, but the chatbot should contain the communication, correct? And chatbot should contain the communication about, I mean, where is the prime minister right now, right? So those kind of information, certain essential information shouldn't go to the common public, right? So the prompt injection test role is to figure out, I mean, what needs to be filtered and what needs to be shared as an information so that it doesn't get misused. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question. And I think for all the students to understand, that's what I said. I mean, these are the roles I've never come across in the last 2 decades. Right? And so the world of software engineering that we have studied, we are still studying, versus some of these opportunity cropping up. I think they are beautiful, and it's a great opportunity.